Good morning and welcome to a cold, cool and windy morning here in the Sabi South Africa. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Sebastian Rombi on camera and we are happy and dry in the tent. Now remember, this is 100% live and you never know whether a leopard might visit us in the tent, but I'm hoping Tristan and Taylor have more luck out there in the wet with animals. Now, two animals that are absolutely enthralled with the rain, and we see them most often during rain or just before or just after rain, is of course the tortoises. So here we go. There's the carapace of a leopard tortoise, and that is the one species of tortoise we get here. And if we're lucky, we're going to see one of them today, and maybe even a Speaks hinged tortoise. This one obviously got eaten by something, and you can see how, let me just turn this around where there's some light. Something broke into the back end of the carapace, probably a ground hornbill or another big bird like that. Doesn't look like hyena or lion who would have crushed the whole thing. So hopefully the tortoises are out and about, and not only the tortoises, the leopards and the lions as well. So hopefully we're going to have lots of fun out here this morning. Well, we're going to have a lot of fun in the tent, and we're going to have lots of games to play, lots of things to look at. So while we decide what to do next in the tent, let's go to a bedraggled, wet Tristan.
I don't know if I'm bedraggled, but wet is definitely the situation. So as Brent sits in his comfy warm tent, Taylor and I once again will be braving the rain, so we'll have to start sorting Brent out and getting him a little bit damp as well at some point. Now, as Brent mentioned, my name is Tristan, and on camera I've got Batman today. So Craig is with me this morning, which is always very pleasant. He's full of the joys of life this morning and is very chirpy at the moment, and so he believes that apparently we're going to see Cape turtle doves, red-billed hornbill, yellow-billed hornbill and crested francolin. That is what apparently we are going to see this morning. Hopefully we do see a little bit more than that. That's what Craig reckons, though. That's the order and the menu for the day. So we'll do our best, Craig, to satisfy your curiosity and hopefully find what Craig is looking for, as well as many other things. As Brent was talking about tortoises, in fact, I actually did see a tortoise just now. It is very good tortoise weather, lots of rain falling, and so we'll see how it goes. But I've come up to Buffelshoek boundary now just to come and have a look and see what's kind of going on with these lions from last night. We know that there was a female walking down the boundary and the three males were kind of heading in the same direction. So I'm just quickly having a look around just to see if I can find any tracks or any signs of where these guys headed to and whether or not they followed and trailed this female kind of to this area, or if they turned around at some point. Now I think I've got a track that's just on my right hand side, but the lack of light and the kind of grey overcast skies means that I've got a situation where the light is very, very poor, and so I'm just trying to double check to see if it's a lion track that is being kind of obscured by rain and various other things, or if it's just my imagination. But it looks like a lion track that is heading that way to the west. I just want to double check that there's none that are going north here. I'm pretty sure this is the lioness track that I'm seeing going that way, so I want to just double check if there's any sign of the boys coming along, or if they decided to maybe lie up somewhere. But I have a funny feeling that they would have followed all the way through and that we might find their tracks here somewhere. But this is for the female that we're seeing. So John B has joined us for the very, very first time and is very excited to be a part of Safari Live this morning. So John B, a very warm welcome. I hope that you'll love the experience and that you're going to send through lots of questions and that you are going to enjoy every single minute of what's going to go on. It's going to be an interesting morning. When it's wet and cold like this, it can sometimes go one of two ways. It can either be like yesterday afternoon, where it's absolute chaos and things are happening all over the place, or it might be a little bit of a quieter morning. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we'll get some interesting things, and with lions around, you never know what's going to go on. Hang on a sec, I just wanted to see, there's a few, no, it's not a vulture. I thought it was a vulture for a second, but it is just a batelier sitting by itself. Good, so we're going to check around for tracks. I'm going to see what I can find. While I do that, let's send you over to the female part of our morning safari and Miss McCurdy so she can say good morning.
Hello, everybody. It's a very rainy, drippy day out here in the Sabi Sand, but my name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me is David, who's seen his dimples before, and hopefully a little bit later will be showing you his knitted jersey, which I bet you'll all be wanting to buy. Remember, this is a live and interactive safari, so, well, you've been asking Brain questions, you've been asking Tristan questions. Perhaps you'd like to ask me some questions today, too, and you can do that the same way you ask the others questions. I don't even think I need to tell you. I feel like you're all so good. Now, this is what we wanted to start on. So we're doing it a little bit backwards. This is what we were going to start on, was a very wet silver cluster leaf. You can see all the beautiful rain droplets. And I believe Tristan had a great time yesterday afternoon watching a raindrop fall from a leaf. We won't be doing that today, however, because we've got bigger and better plans. We've been sent on a mission this morning, not to find animals, but to head to Chitwa to find power. Apparently, there's obviously for the lack of sun for the last few days. You can imagine the sun powers our solar panels, which gives us electricity for many different things that side. So we need to go and get that all sorted. I also don't know how I feel about taking the hood off this morning. So sure about that. And we're going to be a little bit more ambitious than it was this morning about just seeing francolins and hornbills. Looking for leopards. Maybe we'll bump into Fang's herd. Fang is an elephant. She's a very famous elephant in the Sabi Sand. Not quite as famous as Daryl, I might say. Although maybe they're on par. And so perhaps Daryl is the Brad Pitt of the Sabi Sand, and well, Fang is the Angelina Jolie. I'm not really sure. So, but they're pretty well known. Everybody knows them. Everybody wants to take their picture. So that's what we'll be looking for today. I heard rumblings from Brent. That's Tingana. I think, didn't Jamie call Brent? That's right. Maybe Brent can help us out in the tent. Brent? Tinkata, I think, was what Jamie first called Tingana. Well, I almost did that this morning as well. Sometimes we have trouble pronouncing the animal names. It can be a little bit on the difficult side. So while we're driving, we best concentrate, as there are many little critters we could drive over today. African land snails, lots of tortoises are going to be out. Maybe a snakey. Not so sure about the snakey just yet, but, you know, you never know. We'll just keep our eyes peeled. Oh, no, our onions peeled, as David says. Oh. Okay. And James and Ali are all hoping to see some spotted friends today. Well, we're going to try our best. The only of you know, you that have been watching for a long time, is that when we have rain right through the entire night and your cats have been moving, which they typically will, it's hard to figure out where they've been walking with all the droplets falling in the sand. But we'll give it a bash this morning, and who knows, maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to provide something. Ghana's got to kill up a tree. Right, I'm going to send you back across to Brent while I navigate my way through the Mulwati and onto Chitwa.
Welcome back to the tent. Well, since I'm dry and not wet, we're going to focus on some animals that live in the water today. Now, I've done a lot of reading throughout my life on Africana, as it's called. So Africa has been my main focus, and also the biggest, the baddest, the scariest, the nastiest creatures that have ever lived in Africa. Now, some of the stories, especially from colonial times and Victorian times, were a little bit iffy. 12-meter crocodiles, 8-meter tall elephants. But of course, most people are scared of what they don't know and try to make up big stories about it. But I think we're going to start with crocodiles, because crocodiles are probably the most scary animal in Africa. If you want to be honest, they probably eat more people than any other predator. Now, a lot of that happens in very rural parts of Africa, so no one ever knows about it. It's not officially reported. Now, every now and then, a monster man-eater is well documented, and one of the most well-known monster man-eaters in the last 20 years or stuff was from the Congo River. And there is a picture of him. He was estimated to be over 100 years old because he was missing most of his teeth, so an absolute monster. And you can see that he weighed probably just under 1,000 kilograms and was just under 6 meters, or he was about 5.4 meters in length. And there's another picture of him, a close-up of his face. There we go. So there we go. You can the reason I know it is quite an old croc, if you look at his teeth, you can see he's missing, and a lot of them have rounded off and are broken and are not sharp. Now, young crocodiles can get to that size, but their teeth would be in a lot better state. Now, he was actually, unfortunately for him, he was got by the Congolese military, and it apparently took over 200 AK-47 rounds to put that crocodile down. Now, crocodiles are very unique in terms of reptiles. Oof, I must tell you about a reptile shortly. But crocodiles are very unique in terms of reptiles, that they have a far more of an ability to learn. So the crocodiles will actually watch and wait for months, for years, watching animals' habits or people's habits in certain areas, and then eventually taking advantage of it. They don't learn quickly, but they do learn. Well, if you live over 100 years old, you don't need to learn quickly. You can take your time. Now, speaking about reptiles, Conrad, our tech man, was helping us get the tent ready this morning. And he went into the little electrical box where we plug everything in, and Seb and I were rolling up the sides here, and we got this. Brent, what type of snake is this? So I was like, okay. I must admit, Conrad was super calm, super cool. No screaming like you would expect from certain people in our camp. See, so we went around, and it was actually quite lucky. I will find you a picture of the snake just now, but it was called a burrowing asp, or a stiletto snake. Now they are quite dangerous. They're very, very cool snakes. Actually, while I'm talking about it, I'll just get a picture out on my snake app. So where's my snake app gone? There we go. So they're very interesting because that you only see them really out of under the ground after the rain. So when it's wet and stuff, they do come out onto the surface, but normally, there we go. So a lot of people, sorry, while we found the snake now, and I'll have a look at it carefully in a second. Now, a lot of people are commenting, why did they kill the crocodile? Why did they move him? That crocodile weighs 1,000 kilograms, well, just under a ton. And where are you going to move him to is the question. Unfortunately, that animal had learnt, it was estimated to have killed over 40 people that was known about in that area on the Congo River. So the military was sent in, and there was major panic amongst the villagers. He was knocking over boats, and also you must think about the operation to catch a crocodile of that size. It is very expensive. It is very difficult, and the Congo River is such a big place. How and where are you going to set traps, and why is he going to go there? And you've got a lot of other crocodiles, so you end up catching a lot of other crocodiles. With man-eating crocodiles that are actually learned behavior, and they are whacking people weekly, it's generally the only option is to destroy them, unfortunately. And it is a sad thing. The same happens with man-eating lions. If you look at the most famous man-eating lion of recent times, his nickname was Osama, after Osama bin Laden, and he operated in the southern Tanzania, around the boundaries of the Selous Game Reserve, and over a period of 4 years he ate over 40 people. And he was a young male lion with an abscess on his tooth, so he wasn't particularly healthy, but he was he killed a lot of people. And even if you had caught him and moved him, he was a young male lion, there was other male lions, so he would have probably ran out of that area again. And the same would have come with the crocodile. So if we had moved this crocodile into another area of the river, he would have immediately come into competition with the other male crocodiles there, causing some of them to disperse. Okay, now let's have a look what Conrad nearly had on his head. So there we go, that is what they look like. But I'm going to show you, and there's different colorations on them. But the main part I want to show you is this, where they get their nickname from. Now you can see his fangs sticking out to the side there. Now it's called a stiletto snake, as another name for it, or burrowing asp. The one we saw this morning was Bibron's burrowing asp, which is this one we're looking at now. And so that's mouth is closed. That's actually someone using, I think, a needle or something to show you, to try get that that fang out. So unlike all the other snakes, whose fangs are either at the back of their mouth or the front of the mouth, the biberon's burrowing asp or has the fang on the side. Now, you can hold a cobra, you can hold a mamba if you know how to hold them correctly. You cannot hold a stiletto snake. So nicknamed after the stiletto knife, they're able to swing their head a little bit, and their fang comes out sideways and causes necrosis. Many people have picked them up thinking they're mole snakes or house snakes and end up with a finger like that. And that happens very often, so Conrad was quite lucky, but he stayed very calm, and that's always important when dealing with snakes. So well done, Conrad. Now, let's go see what Tristan's found.
Well done, Conrad. I'm glad also that you did not get stilettoed in the head, because that would have been not very pleasant for you at all, and, well, not very pleasant for any of us, because we would have had to try and help Conrad out. But as you can see, there are a myriad of vultures sitting on a dead tree north of our boundary, so that is inside Buffelshoek, and I'm 99.9% sure that these 3 male lions are sitting on a kill on that side. And the reason why I say this is because I've got tracks for a whole herd of buffalo and the 3 males following the tracks of those buffalo, and then, well, there's vultures absolutely everywhere, and we can see that there's a big grouping of white-backed vultures. I think there's a couple hoodeds in there as well. Difficult to say. So if there's white-backs and hoodeds together, generally that's a sign that there's a carcass around. So I'm pretty sure that they're on a kill. The problem is that we're not going to see anything from where we are, because it's quite far north of the road. It's a long way from where we can actually see, and it's quite dense in this area. And so, unfortunately, I think that's going to end our sort of tracking of the boys. But I'm surprised that they came across buffalo, because nobody even called in any buffalo yesterday, or tracks of buffalo. And so these guys must have found them somehow and sniffed them out and maybe made a kill. So I think we're going to carry on, though, because we're not going to be able to really see much more than our birds of prey. I actually just want to quickly, before we do anything else, because it's quite a grey sky, I want to just double check if there isn't any other vultures that are there. It looks like mostly whitebacks that we're seeing. I just want to make 100% sure that there isn't any other interesting vultures that are lurking, because, well, there's the Egyptian vulture that's been hanging around in the Kruger area, and you never know. It's always worth just checking to make sure. But no, I can only see white-backed in there and one hooded vulture right at the back. So no interesting birds of prey in that section, but we'll see. Tax and Aubrey are going to go and have a little look there and just double check if there's anything happening on that side. Hopefully it's that whatever it is already finished, and our boys come towards the road to come and sleep. That's what I'm hoping for. But let's carry on and see if we can find the buffalo, because they came south and moved into Djuma. So, you asking about elephants liking the rain, and which other animals like the rain? Tortoises. So we were talking about them just now. They like to come out in rainy conditions. So there's going to be some very happy tortoises moving about this morning. And what else? Hippos. They like the rain. They don't really have to worry too much about getting wet, given that they wet most of the time. Then rhinos and buffalo are probably not too fussed by it either. The thing about buffalo, unfortunately, is they get hunted a lot in the rain, so they'll like the rain in that it's going to bring a lot of nice grazing for them, but they're not going to be huge fans of the rain in that they are going to probably, in all likelihood, get hunted quite quickly in rainy weather like this. What else? Millipedes, mildreds, they like the rain too. Giant African land snails are fond of the rain, so that's about it, I would say, in terms of the bigger things that we see out here. The rest of the animals are not probably too interested. So, Ali, no, I actually haven't seen a cat that is fond of the rain. I mean, it's part of life for them, so they deal with it and they learn how to be able to kind of make do and to cope. You can see where the buffalo crossed the road in front of me here, so this is where there's a whole bunch of tracks and dung and all kinds of other things going across the road. So I'm pretty sure these are where the buffalo kind of came running. You can actually see that they were running in this area and kind of moving southward. So we'll try to see if we can find the buffalo. Hopefully they're around somewhere on Djuma. It looks like they're heading down towards sort of Dam Cam area. So we'll kind of just try and check around for them. But no cats really love the rain, actually. It's a situation where they probably would rather be in a nice dry spot than in the uncomfortable unbelievable wet. Right, while we quickly chat to these guys, I'm going to send you across to Taylor. Wonder if she's managed to get to Chitwa and fix what Conrad had asked her to do.
We've actually just arrived, so we're about to hop off of the car and do this very, very, very quickly. We're actually already at the repeater. So we're not going to do it live, though, unfortunately, because we need to listen to a very long voice note. I need to, of course, get out the car and open all these goodies. So I'm going to do that. Ooh, okay, cool. This is... I'm trying to not also get electrocuted. Yes, shoo. There was a big spark and I got a big fright. Whew. Okay, before I get electrocuted, I'm going to send you across to Brent and hopefully he can give you some safety tips on how to not handle electricity during the wet weather.
Well, don't play with electricity when it's wet, Taylor. But unfortunately, sometimes we have to. Oh dear, James is coming apart. Let's put him back there for an hour. Oh, James, don't fall over, James. I'm pretty sure James has probably got a different name for this one, but oh dear, James's head fell off. And as you can see, inside James's head, there's nothing. Master Henry. I do miss old Jamesy. Okay, so we've just been chatting about those crocodiles, and Nina is wondering, what is the lifespan of a crocodile? Nina, it depends, but they can live up to about 120 years, and they are very long-lived. They grow very, 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 very quickly for their about first 6 months. But if you see a crocodile in the wild this big is still probably about 2 years old. So they grow very, very quickly from when they're little like this until they get to about this big, and then their growth rate slows enormously. And it takes about 2 years to get to this, probably about 5 years to get to this, and so on and so on. So they grow very, very, very slowly. Now, still talking about crocodiles, and crocodiles are the ultimate opportunists, and they will hunt in all weather. Alexa was asking whether they hunt in rainy weather. They hunt in all weather. They are the ultimate opportunist. And in certain types of rainy weather, yes, not so much. They're going to be hunting fish mostly, and terrapins and things inside the water. And there's not so much of a need for a lot of the bigger animals, Impala and Yala, to go down to drink at the water's edge, so less likely to be hunting mammals or whatnot. They're going to be likely to be hunting fish, especially if you get a lot of rain. And we saw that at Chitwa Dam. Oh, it was a long time ago, but where they had the catfish swimming up over the causeway, and crocodiles in a lot of areas down here, especially in the rivers, when the catfish start running like they do, they will actually wait in rapids with their mouths open, and as the catfish comes down, whack, end of catfish. Yes, so they are incredible opportunists. They will eat anything really, and they can digest very, very rotting meat. Now, can you believe it? But there are fish that eat crocodiles. Yes, there are. There's a few different types of species of fish that will eat baby crocodiles, not big crocodiles. But sharp-toothed catfish, they get eaten. Big sharp-toothed catfish will also eat crocodiles. Goliath tiger will eat tigers. Normal tiger fish will eat baby crocodiles. And, of course, a whole host of birds, herons, storks, what else are we thinking here? Water mongoose have even been recorded catching baby crocodiles. Water monitors eat crocodile eggs. So a female crocodile can lay up to about sometimes as many as 70 or 80 eggs, but normally it's a clutch of about 30 to 40. And out of those 30 or 40 eggs, only 2% will actually make it to adulthood. Now, Hunter's asked me, how many teeth does a crocodile have? Hunter, I have no idea. I'm going to have to find out for you. Can try guess. Probably close on 50, but I'm not 100% sure, so that's a complete guess, so don't take my word for it. I'm going to have to double check to find out how many teeth does a crocodile have. Now, There's something I've been waiting to do. I gotta get ready. Stretch, because this is quite a difficult process. But, oh, the giraffe skull is still here, but look how busy our little Mopani bees have been. They have absolutely made a new tunnel with multiple entrances. So they've upgraded, from starter home. We're now moving into the sort of luxury cabana maybe. And if they keep building like this, we're going to end up with a luxury mansion. Now, of course, I would love to know what is going on inside the brain cavity. Now, for those of those who are new, I think we've been watching these little stingless Mopani bees for about 2 years, maybe even longer. We picked up the giraffe skull, and we found a tiny little wax tube coming out, and that was made by the bees. So they've decided to build their hive inside the brain cavity of this giraffe skull. It is an absolutely perfect place. Very few predators are going to be able to get to them there, and there's very few exits and entrances. So they've chosen this as their entrance and exit, and I'm pretty sure, wait, where's my torch gone? It's around here somewhere. If I look carefully that's very bright. Let's turn it down a bit. And I want to see in some of the other little holes, and yeah, see, they've actually blocked these holes, the other little holes around here. I don't think you're going to be able to see all the way down there. But they've blocked the other holes, so they've made it impossible for other predators and whatnot to get in, and they've kept one of the smallest entrances, because obviously the biggest hole, you can't even see, so that's, there's a spider living in there as well. So you can see, there, you can see there's a little, it looks like a violin spider. I can't really see too well.
Oh yeah, okay.
But Seb's going to get it for you now. There we go. So everything is a little ecosystem. Actually, that's just an exoskeleton of the spider. Ophelia! They make the best honey. Ophelia was wondering about the honey. They make the absolute best honey. It's actually it's very, very sweet. Now, they're unlikely to be too active today because of the weather. But that's interesting. I'm going to try. Now, I can't guarantee. I'm not as stable as our good friend James is with the microscope. So I'm just going to try. Sometimes we can spot, oh dear, a little bee coming out of the hole, especially when we put the light on, because it warms up. So there's one of the entrance holes. Oh dear. Yeah, sorry, final control. I'm actually going to try do it to this one. Sorry, I'm going to waste. Let's cut back out. So there we go. This should be the best way to do it. There we go. So there we go. We can see in the hole there. Now, sometimes when you put the heat on, one of the little bees will come out for have a look. He thinks, the sun's out. It's time to go look for some pollen and some nectar. And of course, shame. It's just us trying to have a view of them. But as I say, it's quite cold today, so it's unlikely that they are going to. There's a bee. There's a bee. Okay, let me just get to the different hole. Where's he gone? There's a bee. He's in there. Come on, come out. Come say hello to the microscope. I can just see him moving around in the back. Let me just try. There he is. Yeah. There he is. He's just disappeared there now. Come on, little honeybee. Where are you gone? And he's disappeared again. But as I said, yeah, so as soon as you put a little bit of heat on here, he's gone down again. They sometimes will come out. So there you go, that's pretty cool. So, they've been living in this giraffe skull as long as we've had the tent. Now, this giraffe skull actually just used to be in camp. So it was actually in the DRC, hanging on the wall. So when we moved it, we didn't even realize we were moving a whole colony of honeybees. Now, I'm sorry, I didn't hear who I'm linking to, but we're going to Tristan. There we go. Let's go see if Tristan's had any luck with finding those lions and buffalo. And we can tell Tristan that I heard buffalo somewhere around, it sounded like, I forgot the name of the road now. How could I forget the name of the road? Around the old hyena den, just behind Gallagher. That's where it sounded like the buffalo were.
Well, Brent, that's probably correct, because there are tracks for buffalo right there that went towards Gallagher Pan, and looks like they're heading now towards sort of Djuma Dam area, or Gowrie Dam. So I'm going to try and just head quickly down that side and see if we can catch up with these buffalo moving in that direction. They might have turned a little bit more and headed slightly more east, but we'll just double check and have a little look. As for the lions, well, the three males are sitting on sounds like a wildebeest or maybe a young buffalo. I can't hear nicely. Just on the northern side where we saw all of those vultures is where the three boys are sitting with the carcass, but apparently there's very little left of it, whatever it is, and so I'm pretty sure that they're going to finish that up quite quickly, but I don't think they'll be going anywhere. If they've managed to find food, I think they're going to just try and probably sit and relax and rest. So, Michael, I didn't know that the Nkuhuma cub was found yesterday with Mom, but good news. It's very, very good news, actually. I'm very glad that that little one is doing fine and that it survived an encounter with the three boys that are intruding in this area at the moment. So, it's really, really good. Hopefully, that little one will continue to stay safe, but I don't think we're going to see much sign of the Nkuhumas for a while now. As long as these males are around, the Nkuhumas will shift and try and just kind of move, much like what Tandi's done with Hukamuri, is to try and kind of push away and try and head into a different area where they feel safer. So I think we're going to see very little of the Nkuhumas as long as these three guys are still hanging around. But I'm intrigued by Taylor's lioness yesterday. I don't know if anybody got a positive idea about it, because the guys, Aubrey was telling me that he thinks it's a different lioness that's got new cubs because she's suckling. But, I mean, I don't know. Was it not maybe the youngest female that still got suckle marks from that little one that she's got? I'm not sure, but I obviously didn't see the lioness, but that was what I would imagine, is that it's the youngest lioness that was maybe just looking for her little one and eventually just found it. That's sounds more reasonable than anybody else, because the only other one that could theoretically have cubs would be Amber Eyes, and she's quite easy to recognize, and we would find that she'd probably in all likelihood be accompanied by that younger female. Generally when Amber Eyes moves around, the younger female sticks with her, so it would be interesting just to kind of see which lioness it was, but I'm pretty sure it's the youngest lioness that it was just kind of probably looking for her little one, found it, and then went back towards the rest of the pride, which is good news. No buffalo that I can see here. I wonder if they didn't turn towards the old hyena den like Brent said, and I just missed that they turned that way. I just saw all their tracks around Gallagher Pan, and most of them were heading southwards, but they might have turned and come north. It's not a huge herd that we're looking for. We're looking for probably, I don't know, maybe 20 individuals that are around, and so I would imagine that we should be able to spot them fairly quickly. It's just to find exactly where they went from Gallagher. I'll just go back around that area because there's nothing at the dam itself. So, Michael, I'm not actually sure where the Birmingham boys are at the moment. I didn't get any updates. I did ask yesterday if anyone had seen them, and I got no response from any of the guys down south. But I would imagine that they're probably somewhere on Mala Mala or Londolozi, somewhere in that area, but still not in our side, which is the important part. They need to be a little closer to hear those boys making a noise and then come up and try and push them off. So still no response from the Birminghams, and the longer it goes on, the more these males are going to feel at home, and the more these males are going to sit. And I mean, they're making a success of it so far. They've got a number of kills already, and they are, well, seem fairly confident when they're walking around. It's not like they seem as though they don't mind kind of strutting down the road. They're scent marking, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. I'm quite kind of, I think, a bit nervous for the cubs in the area. I'm pretty sure that they're all going to have a tough time unless the Birminghams start coming back very, very quickly. I still don't think that they would stand up to the Birminghams unless it was a situation where it was 3-on-1 or 3-on-2. The Birminghams still are bigger lions and are in their prime at the moment, so I'm pretty sure that they would be able to push off these young males and kind of push them back and head them or chase them back to sort of the north or wherever actually they want to chase them. They might chase them east or west as well, you never know, but I'm pretty sure they would be able to kind of ward off this threat if they get into it now. The problem is if they get caught on their own, then it's going to be a very different situation, because as we know, 3-on-1, it's going to be tough for one male to fight off 3 different youngsters. Juliana, lion prides will form via just a lineage. So basically you'll have a lioness that at some point would have been born. Now, what if it's just flown in front of us? Looks like a pretty little bird that has just kind of flown into the tree in front of... I'll get back into that question now. Where did it go? Is it still there? There it is. What is that a female black cuckoo shrike? It is a female black cuckoo shrike. You can see the yellowing on the wings, which is very, very cool. So these guys are not something that you see that often, and it's just disappearing into the bush. Now I'm going to try and quickly find you a picture of what a cuckoo shrike looks like. So just give me 2 seconds, because I need to find it on my app quickly. Not good weather for books today, so it's better to have an app in this case. Black cuckoo shrike. There we go. So that's what we just saw right now, is the female black cuckoo shrike. It's got that yellowing on the wing, barred below, and that little white eye stripe. Now these guys are not that easy to find. They're quite shy birds. You don't see them that often. I didn't see the male, which is, I'll show you now what he looks like. There we go. That's the male. He, as the name suggests, is a black kind of cuckoo-like bird with a little yellow gape. They sometimes will get a bit of a yellow shoulder area, so there we go, yellow shoulders on them sometimes. And if we look at photos of them, that's the only photo that there is of just a female, which is what we just saw right now. That's a really nice bird. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you might not have that on your bird list. I know it has been seen before with Byron, but maybe some of you who have just started birding with us, that will be a first one for you. Now I wonder if the male's not around. That'd be quite nice to find him too. Let's have a look. Right, no sign of the male anywhere. But just quickly to readdress the... there's your Cape Turtle Dove, Craig, in the road. So while we watch our Cape Turtle Dove waddle across the road, we've got to keep Craig's list in mind. Just to readdress the pride situation, you've basically, you'll have females that will give birth to young females that will join the pride. Sometimes you'll get a split where a female will go off if they're not finding enough food, or if there's a change in male coalition and it's got cubs with the previous males, then she sometimes moves off and will form her own pride. And then as she has females, they'll start to get in together. Now I believe there is a hoopoe in there as well. There we go. It's just sitting behind the grass and bobbing its head looking for insects. I suppose not bobbing its head, it's more stabbing the ground in the hope that it will be able to get little insects that maybe are being pushed up by the rain at the moment that might cause some of the burrowing insects to come up. Right. Good. Let's try and see if we can find these buffalo. While we do that, let's send you back across to Taylor McCurdy and find out if she's had any luck this morning or what she's been doing as she's been heading east towards Chitwa.
Tristan, you win the award this morning for the world's longest link. Well done. Our bird almost flew away about 6 times. Thank goodness it was well distracted by some elephant dung, which seems to be the thing that distracts hornbills the most. We actually had a very similar sighting yesterday, in fact, of one that had already gone through. Now, the reason why we actually stopped here was for you, Craig. Craig, a.k.a. Batman, of course, as you know, is filming on Tristan's car. He was wanting to see Franklins and hornbills. So we've ticked one off the list for you, Craig. We'll hopefully find you some Franklins. It's a pity you can't see them, but I suppose you could also open up the YouTube stream and watch like that. Not while you're filming, of course. Snuck on in there. Sorry about that. So I reckon there's going to be lots of cool things for the birds to eat today, especially because the ground is so saturated. I mean, there's going to be lots of snails. It'd be quite cool if we could find an earthworm. Maybe there's some slugs, beetles, larvae, maybe some caterpillars. Who knows? But I bet that hornbill's having the time of its life. Now, most of you know we disappeared a little while ago to try and fix a few things to get the, well, I suppose batteries and things charging, but unfortunately there's a severe problem, is that the South African plugs are completely different to the ones that you use anywhere else in the world. And the inverter plugs, this product is obviously not from South Africa, has got an international adapter on there, which we sadly do not have a surplus of international adapters at the repeater, so we couldn't fix it. The sole purpose of that mission was failed because of a lack of international adapters. Oh, bye, Hornbill. That Hornbill was done with you, Darby. Oh, it's okay. Okay, well, I heard a car. How exciting is that? So I'm going to turn around because you know what? My radio doesn't work in this spot here. There's no comms. And stop for something cool. Who's it going to be? Is it a Chitwa Ranger? Is it an Nkoro Ranger? Is it Peter? Please be Peter. Peter's my friend from Nkoro. Yes, it is. I wonder what he's looking at this morning. Darby, look, he's looking at a gorgeous waterbuck who's not particularly happy with either of us. You can see she's just disappearing. Hello, big girl. Very fluffy and wet today, as you can see. Are we going to embarrass Peter this morning? Are we, or are we going to be nice? Oh, he's made the decision. He's coming towards us all on his own. Oh, this is fantastic. Now, James, you're wondering if there's any updates on Shidulu. Let's see if we'll get to that in a minute. We're going to get to him. Hello. Hi, how are you? Are you well? Did you sleep nicely? Fantastic. Yeah. Do you know what? I just had to do something very quickly. We are live, everyone. Every time Peter passes me in the afternoon, he gives me a biscuit or a piece of biltong or druvos. Darby and I today have brought tea with us. Yeah, my flasks. Yeah, we're only treating ourselves when we find some animals. So here's the return the favour. Would anyone else like one? No? I made them myself this morning. And then also packaged them, yeah. Listen, we're efficient at Safari Live. Okay, everybody, we're going to carry on. Enjoy your safari. Okay, bye. There you go. You know what? It's so funny though, because they're quite lucky. We've got lots of cool friends out here as we drive around, but they do some inappropriate things to us while we're live, and then we can't do anything back. So it's always quite nice when we can catch them. So sorry, James, let's go back to your question about Shidulu. Look, and we've got a Franklin. We're winning. Craig, you should have been on our car this morning. I'm going to stop here, and while I tell you about an update, which I don't have, gone. It was actually looked like more like a spur file than anything anyways. And Craig was very specific about a Franklin. So I haven't heard anything about Shidulu, but we did have her tracks on the property. We just couldn't find her. And the area that she seems to be hanging around in is particularly dense. And it's not even a nice place to go walking. So like when we do bushwalks, we don't often walk with any of the animal pathways there because we bump into a buffalo, it's going to be a lot of fun, or a hippo out of the water, on its way back to maybe perhaps, passing by. It's not going to be fun at all. So we don't do walking too much in that. But anyone else is welcome to go down there. I think if we go towards where we had Kuchava last, I think we might get lucky, because I did see some tracks here yesterday, and maybe some elephants too. But the gremlins are pulling me down into a deep hole, so off you go, Brent, while I fight them off.
Well, sorry about that. It seems like Taylor is fighting off some tech issues. Hopefully they'll right themselves shortly. Now, we're still in the tent. I just did a little walk outside. It's still drizzling slightly, but I went to look for something cool to show you. Now, it's been difficult to do any flowers this year due to the fact we've had so little rain. But I did manage to find one of my favorite little flowers, and I managed to get it under the microscope. So if we have a look there, we very seldom ever get to see this side of this flower. It is called a Hymania, or a pink bell. and it's called a pink bell because that actually hangs upside down. So it's designed for certain insects that pick up the different color spectrums, but the way it faces, the insects have to come from the bottom, so it's not easy to find for a lot of the insects. So there's a few species, particularly the blue butterflies, that like this flower, and you can see that's how it sits. So it doesn't look very pretty when it's just out in the open like that, but then you can see there, if you turn it upside down, you can see those wonderful colors. Hermania, or a pink bell. So it's amazing how all the different flowers and different animals all have this incredible relationship. So the fact that it is like that, sitting like that out in the bush where almost nothing can see how beautiful and pretty it is on the inside, and it's specially designed only for the insects. And the pollinator of the Hermania, or the pink bell, is various different of the little blue butterflies. Now, so they're normally the ones that are after the Hermanias, and there are not many around. Sometimes you can actually have fields of Hermanias at the right time of the year when there's a lot of rain about. Now, let's go outside for a second. Tristan was wondering, what did I do with the snake? Oh, sorry, Seb. Okay, we got to stop. Yeah. So all I did with the snake is that, so you can't pick up the stiletto snake, so I just used my torch and I flicked him into the grass, and he went into that little thicket there. And that thicket there, that's where he went. So we don't hurt snakes, we release them. But as I say, with that snake, I had to be quite careful not to pick it up. The nice thing about them is they're not the fastest moving snakes, so you can just use a stick or even my little torch. I just scooped him off. So, all right, but Conrad was very lucky. Now, so people who I know, quite a few people have been bitten by stilettos, and again, it's mostly from misidentification when picking them up, and as I say, you end up like that with a short finger. So it causes necrosis, similar as cytotoxic venom, similar to a puff adder, and it will actually just cause the cells to die and destroy themselves. Now, as you can see, it's still a little bit wet out here, but I'm just coming out to have a look to see if it's going to dry up. If it does dry up, Seb and I will jump onto Rusty and head out. But I think for the moment we're going to play it safe for a little bit longer, and stay nice and warm and dry in our tent. Speaking of the tent, let's go back inside. Oh no, it's too cold out there. Let's go back in. Hop under here. Now, I've been trying to look at all sorts of things that we've got here, and it's been I was in the tent yesterday, but it's been a while, and I see we're definitely going to have to do some more collections, because, see, I was busy this morning. Sorry, Nix, can you go again? My earpiece fell out, so there we go. I'm just going to do a bit of cleaning before James gets back. Siberia Zumi is wondering, can we find any poison apple flowers that have fruited on Djuma? Yes, we can indeed, but not around the tent. We should find them in quarantine. Seb looks a bit dirty. Here we go. Let's clean Seb. And clean the camera. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put this under the table. It's not supposed to be on the table. I forgot to put it back when I was cleaning this morning. I've even got a broom, can you believe it, under there. But in the meantime, while I contemplate the cleanliness of the tent, let's go across to Tristan.
Not well, is he? Here's another story, is Brent Leo Smith. But good luck cleaning, Brent. I hope you dust well and broom sweep. What is it? Sweep. In a efficient manner that creates a cleanly environment for all of us to be able to use the tent. I feel like it's not going to be the last tent session we do in the next few days. Anyway, we are going to give the buffalo a break for now. They have gone into a very dense area, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go do a bit of a kind of loops around, and then I'll come back to that area a little later in the hope that they've come out, because even if we do find them where they've gone, it's going to be so difficult to actually view them because of how thick it is, that it'll be better just to wait and hope that they come into one of the clearings. Maybe they head towards quarantine, or even if they come down towards the dam or something like that. So that'll be the plan. We'll just give them a little bit of time to start making their way out. So now I'm thinking about where else we can go. I was thinking maybe let's go and check around for Tundi and the little one. So we're going to head maybe into the northeastern corner and then slowly work our way southwards until we get down to sort of the southern areas, and then we'll try and look from there. You never know, maybe Tingana's around, or we get Tumba or something. I don't know. It will be interesting just to go and scratch about and see what's hanging around. And while we do that, let's send you to Taylor McCody, who has got our ever so common antelope that we see out here, but it's always very, very pretty.
And we're also having a cup of tea and having a little biscuit as well. Right, there must have been about 100 Impala on the airstrip at one point. It was spectacular. You couldn't even see the runway, in fact, but they've now all moved off. And I suppose they're heading towards the open area to feed for the day. Or maybe here, maybe this is a nice place. We've got long grass. And then all of these shrubs that will provide a bit of shelter from the rain. Luckily, it's not windy. So everybody seems to be very relaxed this morning. There's no need for them to be nervous, as they can still hear what's going on. And kind of like what Brent said, the rain is letting up ever so slightly. And it's starting to get a little bit lighter. A couple of nice rams in and amongst the girls. And some little ones standing with Mom. I don't know what they're staring at the distance. Probably some more Impala just on the other end of the rise. We'll go and investigate. Ellie, fantastic. You said Impala are so cute. They are. They're quite precious. They're a very pretty antelope. I mean, I'm just trying to think. It's not like we have any unattractive antelope. I mean, the wildebeest, they're cute when they're little. When they get older, not so much. Not my cup of tea, that's for sure. I mean, the bushbuck are beautiful. Kudu are so elegant. And the nyala as well. Boasting those beautiful colours, the males with their big manes. Oh, who's stirred there? You heard that alarm call, that snort? It's an Impala ram on the airstrip. He's getting very excited and chasing everyone around now. Go, go, go! Chasing the girls, trying to lure them back. There's another ram, another girl. Oh, they're all quite excited. That's always funny, the way that they rally one another. Sheep mentality. Now, Hunter Jeffrey, hello. I hope that you're doing something similar this morning. Cup of tea, a little cookie. If you're from America, you may call it that. We call them biscuits. And you were wondering if there are any animals that are going to start to hibernate. Now, well, it doesn't get cold enough in this area for things to really hibernate properly. So what a lot of the reptiles do is estivate. So it's sort of like a temporary state of hibernation. So the tortoises will disappear for weeks and weeks on end. But in winter, which often happens, we might have a really warm day where the temperature jumps sort of mid to high 20 degrees Celsius, so like between 25 and 30 degrees Celsius, which is awesome. And then you might see the tortoises coming out, or a snake coming out and taking advantage of the warm day. But no, we don't, unfortunately, have any animals. Well, it's not unfortunately, it's quite cool, in fact, that the animals just carry all year on. Now, I can't believe that just 5 minutes ago we couldn't see the floor of the airstrip. Now, everybody has disappeared. Well, I'm about to dunk my biscuit in my tea, my little shortbread into my tea, and gobble that on up. So I'm going to send you to Tristan to see if he was wise and packed some snacks and perhaps a pot of coffee.
No, I didn't pack snacks this morning, but I've got Craig, who sounds like, well, in fact, it sounds like I've got a horse that I'm busy towing, because all I can hear is crunching of carrots. Brent's carrot trend is starting to spread, and we've got now carrot wars for carrots in the team, and I'm pretty sure we're going to run out of carrots in the next little bit, given how many these guys are going through. But let's get back to the wildlife, and you can see we have a rather bedraggled Wahlberg's eagle, a pale form Wahlberg's, that is sitting atop one of the trees and is looking about as dire as it can. It's all kind of ruffled up, and I suppose it's all damp and wet and cold, and is just not really enjoying this weather. It's interesting though, because these guys should almost be gone now. A lot of them have left. We're not seeing nearly as many Wahlbergs flying around. So I'm interested to see when our Wahlbergs that nest on Wahlberg's Nest or Wahlberg's Road are going to leave, because they've been hanging about. It's been the adult with the chick, and so I'm interested to see when they start heading. It's an amazing bird though. There's one that was tagged in Hoedspruit, which is just north of us. It's not very far away at all, and it was tagged there, and it's then followed, and we kind of get research out of it, and they see which way they migrate. And I've been following a certain bird that was tagged and has been flying north. And in the space of 14 days, it did 1,500 kilometers going northwards. And interestingly enough, as it traveled north, it kind of flew into Zimbabwe and it flew towards a place called Kariba Dam. Now, I'm sure Brent can maybe show you Kariba Dam on his maps. We know he loves a map, and I'm pretty sure he'd love to get a map out to show you Kariba Dam. And so what these birds were doing was flying towards Kariba Dam, and as soon as they get to Kariba Dam, they veer off either east or west, and they fly along the edges of the dam. And so what they hypothesize is that the dam is so big, and because it holds water, there are less thermals that are coming off that area, because it doesn't heat up as quickly as what the land would, and so it becomes much harder for them to fly over big bodies of water than it does over land. And so they circumvent that massive lake or dam, and they then go around it, and then as soon as they got to the edge of it, the northern point of the dam, they then came back to their original flight path and then started heading north. From there, they then went into Zambia, and now they've headed into the Democratic Republic of Congo, and onward from there to the Congo Basin, and then they'll keep going north into North Africa. But pretty incredible kind of flight path to witness, and amazing that they are able to sense where they can fly and whether or not they need to kind of circumvent big bodies of water. It's a pretty interesting sort of phenomenon, and amazing that there are bodies of water that do affect the thermals for our migratory birds. Very cool species, though. Always enjoy spending time with the Wahlbergs. Now, you might be thinking why we're so far away from it. The reason is because we have this roof, and so I can't really get any closer. Otherwise, poor Craig is going to have to be shooting a bird through the top of a roof, and so we'll have to sit a little bit further. But it's quite a bleak picture, that, isn't it? It's kind of this bird in a dead tree against a grey background. It's almost monotone in its sort of effect. Well done, Craig. Very artistic. You see, your carrots are good for you, Craig. You see what's happening here. You're starting to see things nicely, and Craig is obviously benefiting from eating his carrots. He's also very chipper this morning as well. And so far, we've managed to tick off a few birds. We've got the red-billed hornbill by Taylor. We've also seen a crested francolin, and we've got a Cape turtle dove. What was the other one? Yellow-billed hornbill. Yes, no, we need to find you a yellow-billed hornbill, Craig, and then we'll complete Craig's list. It was an easy list, and Craig says to me he went for easy because he didn't want to be disappointed, because in weather like this, it's sometimes quiet. So he says this is how he knew he would end up with a happy drive, is because he went for things that he was pretty sure that we would see. So I was like, okay, Craig, thanks for the vote of confidence. It was nice to know that you think that we are not capable of finding anything else other than the more common birds we get out here. Sunshine, you're asking about widest wingspan. So do you mean sort of from tip to tip of the feathers, or from the sort of depth of the wing? Because widest tip to tip would be... I'm just trying to think now. I can't remember if I think it's a marabou stork. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I must just try and think for a little bit, because we've got a situation where you've got very heavy flying birds like the Kori bustard, but they actually don't have the biggest wingspan. I think the marabou stork wingspan of our birds that we see here. I'll just quickly check what that wingspan is. Just give me 2 seconds. The nice thing about a bird app is that it shows you the wingspan, and so I'm pretty sure if I get it on the I think it's a marabou stork. I don't know why I'm going blank on this. I do know that, well, I have read up on this a few times, so it's, like I say, just getting old, I suppose, and forgetting things. So wingspan. Oh, it doesn't have wingspan for my marabou stork. That's ridiculous. Okay, so maybe Brent will have to help me with the marabou stork wingspan, but otherwise, Not sure. Brent will know though, so let's send you to Brent and he can show you the map maybe of Kariba as well as tell you which bird has got the longest wingspan.
Well, welcome back. Yes, I think I have the same app as Tristan, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to tell you without doing a bit more research the wingspan of a marabou stork. But I will shall. There we go. So that is Lake Kariba. It is still to this day the largest man-made water body in the world. Lake Kariba. Now, I've spent quite a lot of time in this area. The last time I was in Lake Kariba, I was with a person you will all remember very well, Andrew Francis, and his family have a house on the banks of Lake Kariba and Kariba town, and they also own a houseboat. So we went from Kariba all the way across to Matusadona National Park, and we actually spent a week on the houseboat around this whole area here. And we saw lots of wonderful animals and lots of ellies swimming. I caught some very big catfish, caught some tiger fish. So yes, a very beautiful part of the world. But yeah, Tristan is correct. You get some very bedraggled looking migrant birds over Lake Kariba. I used to live on Lake Kariba. Where's Bingo? I actually used to live right there. Now, strange enough, while I was living there, you'll see all these pens here. It's the largest Nile crocodile farm in the world. And there are over 400,000 crocodiles there. However, I was not so much involved in a little bit involved in the crocodile farm. If you actually go this side, that's the scary side. Those are what you call the breeding dams. This particular one here in the middle we used to call Jurassic Park. And it had a crocodile called Mampande. He was from the Mampande Rapids in the Zambezi River, and he was over 5 meters with the last sort of half meter of his tail missing. Now, while we were living here, while I was living here, there were a few people killed by crocodiles in the lake, and it was quite scary. So but my main job while I was there, I wasn't so involved with the crocodile farm itself. I was running these 2 islands. That is Maze Island, that is Mashape Island, and these were game farms. So we had eland, Impala, and all sorts of other stuff, all general game on there. And one of the things I did is I caught jackal and bush pig and other animals and moved them onto the island. So we actually had our little camp where we used to sleep was in that little island. Well, Mariah says says a marabou stork's wingspan is 9.4 feet. I have no clue what that is in meters. I'm 6'3", which is 190. Seb, how's your feet meter conversions? Mine is horrible. But
not really good.
not very good. Just thinking, in the meantime, while we try to do that, now, I don't know if 2.8 meters, there we go. So the largest wingspan of any bird in the world is the wandering albatross, which is 3.1 meters and 10 feet. So that is the largest wingspan of any bird in the world. So the wandering albatross that we do get in African waters off the southern tip of Africa. They cruise down towards the Antarctic, all the way across to Australia. That can do incredibly long distances when they are not breeding. When they do breed, they breed in isolated little islands out in the well, I'm trying to remember which sea. Well, not only the Antarctic Sea, but other places there. So there's a single albatross that's been recorded off southern Africa that has made it all the way to Australia. Now, there ain't much land between those two places. So while I think about the wandering albatross, let's wander all the way to Madam McCurdy.